Me and my boyfriend had spent the day at Senecaville Lake. Not long before we left, we got into an argument. We packed up and argued for a few minutes more in the car as we drove away. We hadn't gone too far when he said something incredibly stupid. I got mad and told him to stop and that I'd rather walk. So he pulled over and I got out. He drove off. While we were at the lake during the day, I had left my purse in the car locked up, and I did remember to take it with me when I got out of the car. However, while arguing and packing up to leave, I had thrown my cell phone into a tote bag, which was still now in his car. I was mad and not thinking while we were arguing, and I was just throwing stuff everywhere as we packed up. When I realized it, I could have kicked myself. So there I was out in the middle of nowhere in the dark and no way to call for a ride. So I did what I said I was going to do, and I started walking. I was on 761, or some know it as Kenansburg Road. The first section wasn't too bad. It was pretty open, and I passed a few houses and then a wide area of open land. But after that, it was all lined with trees on both sides of the road. At first, I was still so mad and thinking about everything that we had argued about that it didn't bother me. But after a while, I started to hear stuff off to the side of me in the trees. It sounded like something walking along. I just tried to keep walking. But after a few minutes, I knew something was definitely over there in the trees. Although there wasn't much in the way of cars coming and going, I chanced it and started walking as best as I could down the middle of the road. I did not want to be near the edge. I had visions of something grabbing me. I was now really regretting getting out of the car, and I was now also angry with him for letting me get out and walk. I know that makes no sense, but I was. I was mad at him now, all over again. But I also felt like I was in some scary movie. But I was stuck. There was no light out there, and there was nothing nearby to run to except the trees, and I wasn't going in there. More than once I felt like something was behind me. It was so dark out there, there were no lights, and something could have been 10 feet behind me, and I probably wouldn't have known it. It was so dark, I stepped off the road a few times and only knew it by how it felt when I walked. It was that kind of dark, the kind that only a rural road with no ambient light for a mile or more can possibly be. I just kept walking, and a car did come down the road, and I tried to get them to stop, but they didn't. They probably thought it was a scary horror movie too, and first rule in a horror movie, never pick up someone on a dark night. By that time, I was in tears and scared. I tried to go from my memory to guess how far it was to the next area of houses, but I just didn't know. I had driven this way many times, but I didn't know the distance. It had all just been background. I did begin to smell something, but not like others have described. This was the smell of a dog, but not a wet dog. It was like a dusty, furry smell. When I smelled that, I really became scared. I wasn't thinking Bigfoot so much as maybe coyote or bear. I didn't know exactly what was in the area, if anything. But I knew then something was behind me. I can't say how I knew, but I knew. Goosebumps on my arm, and I knew. I swear I could hear and feel it breathing. I turned around, and while it was dark, I could tell something was only a few feet behind me, and it was big, really big. I think I might have screamed, and I turned and I began to run. I didn't know if that was the right thing to do or not, and I wasn't even questioning it. I just ran. I saw headlights again, and again they would not stop. As they passed, I too came to a stop and turned and watched their brake lights. I was hoping that maybe they were stopping after all. But the side benefit was that I could watch the glow of their headlights moving along and as it lit up the sides of the road. Now, they probably couldn't see what I saw because it was standing well off the side of the road, but I saw a Bigfoot in the trees. I'm not sure of the distance. I'm not the kind of person who can tell you how many yards or feet. But it was a couple car lengths behind me. It had turned slightly away from the road as the car passed, and it was just standing next to a tree. But I saw that eye shine for a moment. Seeing a Bigfoot, that's scary on its own. But seeing it in a flash of light, and then it's all darkness, that's a fear that is indescribable. My skin zinged, as I call it. I don't have another word. It's where it feels like someone has lightly shocked you, and it feels like your whole skin contracts. I didn't know if I could run anymore. My legs and my lungs were burning. I was also breathing hard, almost hyperventilating, I think, as I watched the brake lights go out of sight. I was now back in darkness. I was crying, I remember, and I was almost too scared to move. I really was in a scary slasher movie, I thought. Or should I say, a scary squatcher movie. I was now hearing movement from that direction, and it was coming closer. I'm pretty sure I screamed, but it made me start running again. I knew the wooded area had to end at some point along that road. My memory of the road told me so. I just didn't know if I was going to make it. But I did. I only knew it was open area because it just wasn't as dark on the sides of the road, and I could see another type of darkness in the distance, which I took to be another line of trees somewhere. I knew I had more trees up ahead, but I also knew I was getting closer to houses. Now I had slowed to a jog, not because I felt safer, but because my body just couldn't do it anymore. In the distance, I saw the light of something, and as it wasn't moving, I took it to be a house, and I felt immense relief and almost started giggling. I don't know why. But before I reached the house, I saw another set of headlights. After the last two, I wasn't even bothering to try to flag it down, so I was surprised when it slowed down. It was my boyfriend, who had felt bad enough to come looking for me once he had cooled off. I got in, and I was screaming, and I was panicked, and I wouldn't let him do anything but make a U-turn right there on the road. I refused to go back through that wooded area, even in a car. He knew something wasn't right with me, but I could barely tell him what had happened. Once we got home, and I calmed down, I did tell him everything. I don't know if he believed me or not, and since we broke up a while ago, I guess it doesn't matter. In the end, the thing out there didn't hurt me, but it sure scared the daylights out of me. My advice? Don't go walking down country roads at night. Thanks a lot, Audra.